Hi there. Welcome to Completing Mastery or Mastering Completion. That's what I named it, Mastering Completion. So 90 days for me is like I started out this journey 90 days, every morning 90 days, and what I would do inside of that. And I celebrate for me alone, happy. I don't know. Wobbles, wiggles, giggles, power, genius, coaching, guiding. Men today just noticing, starting and ending and putting a frame on it of 90 days. And this one is for mastery. It's been labeled mastery, and it's in the focus of completing completion. So, what has you here today? See, my starting and ending, I started with, I don't want to be alone. I didn't want to do my true choices, my morning meditations, my morning routine alone any longer. And so I found a time at 5 a.m. that works. I learned this, I gather with others in a space that I work to be equal, revealing genius, where we say yes and to whatever's next. I wrap that into awareness because we're always need to be aware you're being charged. And that is aware. Being Annette, I'm so grateful for giving me the metaphor for plus trust, plus truth, really truth and trust. Truth is what you have for me there, equals winning. And so when I can relax into four, focus, observe, and relax, I can listen to the silence. I can listen to my charge. I can see I'm being charged. And when we're charged, we're just seeing why we're made aware of it. It's our separation of our thoughts and our feelings, of how we're viewing. It's our perception based in our beliefs, our backgrounds, our experiences of how we think it needs to be. And that is when we are creating from our truths, from our peace, passion, power, purpose, and prosperity. We're creating, breaking through love. That is true mastery. That is master of happy. And there is always a beginning and end. What do you want? How do you create it? And I celebrate my first quarter being created. So I can't wait for more to show up, but that'll be the end of the live for that session. And the gardeners show up.
Hey, Jesse.
Jenny, how are you?
Good. I have a 3:30, so I'll be here for a half hour, and then I'm having my WildFit graduation, so I'll be bumping off to get on that Zoom.
Fantastic.
How are you doing today?
I'm very good. And the gardeners, I think, have taken up their activities next door. So we're going to see how loud that's going to get.
as a truck comes barreling by as I walk the dog. So
No, you're right.
Trying to be-
I know it's like, oh yeah, all that other stuff. All that other stuff. I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm celebrating a completion and a beginning at the same time.
So funny. So funny you say that.
How is that landing with you?
It's right here on my notes.
Okay, well, I'll wait for the others to benefit from that then. So I've been noodling the question before you move into your session of noticing the difference between power and ego, power and force. Back to Hawkins. Good job, Coco. Hey, Allison.
Hi, everybody. I'm off
Hi, Allison.
camera.
It's
I
just
just-
us.
Is it just the three of us so far? Okay. That's nice. Are
Yeah.
you walking, Virginia?
I am, and I told Jesse I have a 3:30 for my WildFit graduation Zoom, so
Yeah.
I'll be here for an hour and then buzz off.
Are you going to celebrate your wild trip journey?
Well, yeah, what I shared before you got on with Jesse is that I'm celebrating a completion, my graduation, and a beginning.
Oh, nice.
My new life living with my new orientation towards my relationship with food and all. So, and then I brought up power versus ego or power versus force.
Mm.
I like flow.
Yeah.
Speak for you
Oh.
all.
Sometimes others.
Oh. Oh. Duh.
I get a lot of noodling when I get my walking in. Jesse, I've gone from like 10 to over 20,000 steps most days.
That's so awesome.
So yeah, a lot of things get resolved, thought through when I take my walks.
Yes. I find that too for myself when I manage, but I haven't been able to go out lately. It is minus 29 with the wind chill here in Toronto.
Yeah, that is cold. I mean, it's 68 Fahrenheit here, and we're getting a cold front to go in the 50s, which would be warm for you. It's all perspective.
It is. Okay.
Oh, good.
So today is about mastery.
Yes, today is mastery inside of a completion. Yeah, it's like it's happening around. And so it's, what do we celebrate about our mastery?
Being able to recognize patterns and being able to really discern when we're in or out of alignment, which is part of what happens if we get stuck in a pattern. If you get skilled at that, boy, have you got the world at your feet.
Well, yeah, today's superconscious immersion was on the dysfunctional pattern. And it is a powerful thing to recognize. But it's very difficult to see it in yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we go back to that thing about being in collaboration and using the environment, right?
All right, you ready? Let's try something. You ready?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so write your intention in the chat box, and when I count down from 5, we'll all send it at the same time,
Okay.
and we'll see who wins.
When's what, Jess? What is the intention for?
Maybe just to see where we all align.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, send.
I love them all.
That was fun.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be 90, Jesse?
Q1, it's like I can celebrate Q1. It's like, holy cow, 90 days. Wow.
It's a big achievement.
That's huge.
Yeah, it really is. And it's
What's your
it's the
favorite way
same.
to celebrate? Sorry.
No, go, Jen.
No, what's your favorite way to celebrate? I'm coming up with new ones. That's why I'm asking.
No, I like everything. Like to acknowledge what's there, it's like just in the moment. And today, oh, there's Pascal. Like, so that excites me, right? Someone new is coming in. It's like, yay, a new energy. Us being here, that's excite me. But I'm gonna have a beer tonight. Yeah, I'm going to. So that is one way I celebrate is I'll have a beer.
Ah,
I've been redefining celebratory things like birthdays don't have to mean cake. So I have a different relationship with sugar. Now I kind of see it like a white substance similar to cocaine. So I really don't want it. So,
Yeah, don't take what won't work for you.
that's exactly right.
Especially when you ask, huh?
Well, Valentine's is coming up. So I have to kind of re-instruct hubby that flowers are awesome. Chocolate's not so much. Since I will choose not to eat them, don't use your money for them. Hi, Pascal.
Well,
Hi guys, how are you?
We're celebrating.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are we celebrating?
Well, Jesse's celebrating his 90 days, and
No.
almost equal to that, I'm finishing up my Wild Fit challenge, which was 90 days. We have our graduation at half past the hour, so I'll drop off. That's 20 minutes or so. I
Wild
was
Fit, you said?
celebrating
Did you say Wild
What?
Fit?
Wild Fit. Yeah, it was a journey with
On
some
Mind Valley?
education. Yeah, through nutrition and your relationship with your food devil and angel and sugar monster. And so this is the first year in my life that Christmas I didn't eat any sugar.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was powerful because I didn't want it.
Yeah,
So that's a closing of that chapter, but a beginning of continuing to live that way.
mhm.
So it's a beginning and an end. The graduation is commencing living a different way with a different orientation. So I'm grateful for it.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely the challenge, right? Like you do a goal for 90 days and you're like so happy about it, but then to stay in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, it's funny because I was just watching a breatharian video, and this guy has been living for 19 years right now with very little food, and like he's skinny, but like he's fit, and he's probably like in his 60s, right? And it's just like, but he says you can't start there, right? So it's like it's progress.
Mm.
As
It's
with
interesting. Yeah, because they started us the first week, don't change anything in what you eat, but just breathe 5-5-5 and add water. That was the first thing to get you to realize your body needs breath and air before it needs water and food. And that's what we focused on. She went, if you could write it for me. So that is a big awareness that you can only live minutes without breath, hours, days, perhaps at the most without water, and then you can live a really long time without food.
Yeah, and it was really interesting. It was another one. It was like a master monk or something like that, and he was saying breath is the only thing that would meet the inside and the outside world consistently.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
So he was talking about, like, they did like a study on people that, you know, they're in the office and they all say like, oh, we're so stressed. And it was really funny to him because everybody has a different response. So he says it's actually not the thing outside of themselves that stress them. It's a trigger in themselves, and it's to rebalance the inside world and the outside world that you have less trigger. So it was it was mindful for sure.
It's so interesting to me how you can hear, well, how I can hear things over and over again, but each way in which it gets expressed or the context in which it gets expressed gives me another angle to it that helps and deepens. So this thing about the inside reverberating with the outside is so familiar, but to put it in the way that you got it, Pascal, with breath, brings so much, adds so much more to it for me. And I think about that refrain about, you know, when we go into meditation, that we feel the universe breathing us in and out as we breathe out and in. And I always love that experience. So that came to mind for me when you was talking about this.
Yeah, we're connecting both sides, right? Like the yin and yang,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So how well do we do with that?
What do we do with that?
How well do we do with that? How well, like
Oh,
Dave, how well do
well.
we do with that?
Well, it's through practice, right? Because I mentioned, like, when I do these long breath session, like, this is where I feel the most connected. And now I know why.
Mm. That's beautiful.
finding the balance between the two.
Yes.
It's not about just going inside. It's going like, and he said like, it's not about controlling just your environment or just controlling your thoughts or whatever. It's like merging both together. It was like, yeah, maybe I'll post that video in the chat, because I thought like it was really, really good.
So that experience that you have, Pascal, that you talk about in, you know, in those sessions, what that brings up for me is how we weave in and out of everything, whether it's consciously or, and when I say consciously, I mean with an awake mind or not. That process is happening all the time on so many different levels and in between so many different things. But our growth is very closely linked to our awareness of where we are at in the, you know, back from moment to moment.
Yeah, and I feel why I'm not triggered as much from the outside world. It's because I'm more balanced in the inside. And the tool that I found was breath work.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a tool. It's just a tool,
Yeah.
right? Not the end of all. But it's a tool for me that works for me.
Yeah. And that's what's important, that we find what works for us. And I always come to that with more clarity when I have been able to collaborate. And as Jesse says, not be alone, but be together. There's a lot to celebrate today.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't here to celebrate, but yeah, there's a lot to celebrate for sure. Yeah.
What do you mean you weren't there to celebrate?
I didn't know. You know, I didn't come prepared about that, I guess. I don't know. It was just, I didn't know what to expect. Let's just put it that way. I was just like, okay, mastery. Okay. Yeah. I like the sound of that. So, you know.
So Ginny and I were on an immersion this morning, and they covered the default failure program. You know, each person, that's what they spoke about. And then they had a demo and Hannah did the unpacking of it.
All right, so
that
here,
was
I'd like to, can I do that again? Can I do it?
Yeah.
Okay, Pascal, are you in a spot where you can text?
Yeah.
So would you put your intention for attending here in the chat box, and then when I say go, we'll send it together.
Okay, give me.
I'll give you a countdown from 5. And we'll see who wins.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah, this is such a great game. I love this.
Or we can talk about it, or we can, like, you know, we can go through an experience. We can unpack all of your patterns, but did you see how many just happened right there?
Mm-hmm.
They happen all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And how
What did you
much
learn
we
about
can
yourself?
about myself. That I'm different, that I think differently, that my intention are not the same as everybody else, which is totally fine. And yeah, I learn about other people as well, right? Quite a bit, just by just a few words, right? So where are their intention to be here?
Any resistance?
No? No?
Was there any resistance?
Of sharing with you guys?
Through the whole process?
To do the whole process? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. You know? My intention stay the same until they change.
What about when I said, and when someone wins, what was that?
Good for them.
Good, 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 good. That wasn't what I felt, but sure.
Like you were saying, it's okay to finish second or third, you know. Still a good position.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thanks for volunteering that. So those that went through it the second time, what did you notice?
I noticed a difference in mine. I noticed a similarity in Ginny's and yours and Pascal's. When I read it, my home button is over the kind of thing. My screen is very small. I'm on my phone. And when I read it, I said, oh, yes, that's Pascal's. So what that tells me is that there's an essence in him that I have recognized.
Wow.
Oh, that's deep.
Oh, that might be some truth.
Yeah.
Pascal, is that something you were looking for?
No.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think like just with my energy, someone will figure me out. Really interesting.
And just so that you know, for me, that I honor that. It's encouraging to me that people live like that. Very encouraging.
I noticed that Jesse didn't put a second intention in.
Because his first one is so present still.
Yeah. And that Pascal finding the truth. And some people see truth as a capital T. Interesting, you did a lowercase t. And the word the, there's some people that think you have your truth, I have my truth. They may not be the same truth. Is truth universal? It's an interesting concept. And then you shall know the truth, and it shall set you free. What is that truth? I have a random share. I asked my daughter, how is her light shining today? And she said, really bright. Everyone is in a good mood today.
Mm.
And see, when you think of that, you can't be in any wrong direction.
Yes, absolutely. It's really beautiful.
So what I honor, and as you step away, Jenny, thank you for being here. Thank you all for your sharing. That is a way that we can get people to see a pattern in themselves extremely quick by changing things up. You see, people don't talk about what they want. That is awareness number one that people need to get the fuck over.
And sometimes that
There's my F word for you,
question.
Jenny.
Thank you. Thanks for honoring that before I depart. Well, and honoring what they want. Sometimes that word, what do you want? People are either numb to the word or they've edited so often that they don't have an answer. So what is your heart desire might get a different answer than what do you want?
I would go with that.
Yeah, big time.
Everyone responds differently to the words because they all have a different orientation to them.
Mm-hmm.
So a group of people will resonate with your verbiage
And
and
another
not
will,
mine.
yeah.
Yeah.
The beauty is everyone needs to hear the words.
Mm.
So I celebrate learning about alone, not being able to go any farther, wondering what the hell that is, not knowing for relaxing into I don't know, and challenging our charges. I just love that.
Mm.
That's the mastery I celebrate.
I appreciate the question, Jesse, of what is your intention, and to share it all at once. It refocuses.
It does.
Change that in every session and you've amplified it.
Mm-hmm.
Give Chris
Well, and
that nugget.
there's the silence as you're typing. So it doesn't give the ego a chance to override and take over.
Oh, it does. If you are new to that silence and that, oh yes, it would. People would face everything like crazy. You bet they would. You guys are more skilled and experienced. They're either going to run away or they're going to fight you. I mean, that's the obvious.
Mm.
That's true. That's what happens in meditation groups with new people, Jenny, or experienced ones. Like all your demons come out.
Well, thank you guys. My time to depart to the next one. Love you all.
Bless
Bye-bye.
you, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
There was 2 segments of 15 minutes, and we've just about gotten to the skeleton of life and involved and focused life's trajectory. Oh my God, my husband's going out for a walk. Pascal, you'll appreciate this. It is minus 29 outside. I don't know.
Minus-
What do you think doing? 29?
That's in Fahrenheit, you said, right?
No.
Oh, it's in
Celsius.
Celsius. Okay, okay.
I myself would rub
Wow.
I think he'll be back very quickly.
Yeah. Or if not, then make sure that he is. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
that
the
is-
wind chill, right? The actual temperature is
That
minus
is cold.
18.
Yeah, that's 10 minutes out there, and you don't get up from that. So it's probably slippery and everything too. So have him be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. He usually is pretty careful. Now he's standing. Sorry. I must separate myself.
I'm going to welcome Mona. Hi, Mona. Great to
Hi,
be
Jess.
with you. Hi.
Here, Mona.
Hi, Mona.
I've been listening. Y'all sound
Ah.
really good.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this session a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the interaction, and yes, I like the interaction and that everybody gets to be able to say what's showing up for them without being interrupted or over talked. That's a very pleasant experience.
What did you think of our shares? Did you hear them?
I didn't get to hear everything. I just logged on the Facebook side of it or the YouTube side of it. So I thought I'd just join you. What I did like is everybody's noticing things and they're in the observer's role, not with just themselves, but with each other. And that's really nice.
And we were doing a really interesting exercise. I've never done it before. So what we were doing was Jesse was giving us a minute to type what our intentions are. And then he would count it down and we all sent them at the same time. And when we could read each other's intentions. It was really interesting and fun.
And it's one of those everyone had a great time and I have no idea why. Everyone's like, oh, something was huge for me there, and it's like the only thing I can think of is like resistance to it.
The resistance in the moment.
Yeah.
Can you please explain where you see resistance? Or how do you, why did your mind go there?
One, because you guys are very skilled at putting intentions down, yet there
Yeah.
will always be some hang up on it.
Yeah.
So I just assume that I've never asked you to do that process before. So even Allison, you resisted me by asking me questions about it. You deflected by asking questions, by going into not knowing. Your pattern showed itself completely.
Yes, it did.
And you guys asked me what resistance there was. Pascal, as soon as I mentioned a win, there was this evil and a fun laugh. And it was like, it wasn't resistance for you. I made up it was and it could have been my resistance. Yeah. There's that laugh again.
Okay, I'll just mute.
Yeah, catch your tail, look out, catch your tail. I'm finding truth, but I don't want it now. God, get me away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesse, you focus, well, not necessarily always, but your focus was on asking about the resistance, and mine was asking on what is it that allowed the flow to happen.
Right. Just the other way. What a wonderful other perspective. I hadn't considered that. Wow.
Well, it's the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. And it's easy once everyone's there.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
What's the problem with that?
No problem.
Nobody's there.
When everybody's there,
And the problem is no one's there. Nobody's flowing. That's the problem. You're flowing alone, and that's the problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yoop-de-doo, fuck yeah, that you know how to do it.
yeah. Well, don't know that I do know how to do it, but I get it right sometimes.
I'm gonna have to put not for children on this video. I haven't started doing those yet, so but someday. Yeah, so I love it. I love it that I still get to wake up at my morning time and share my morning. I love that. I'm still like day 90. I'm gonna do tomorrow. You know, and I'll probably do Sunday too. And after that, I don't know. Probably because I'm a yes and what's next, and that one works pretty well. So I'm gonna keep doing that one. I think too. Mastery, I really like this one. I really like this one too. This is where we can all like demonstrate and share and celebrate, and it's like a higher level, a deeper level, and I really enjoy that. And I can sometimes I can coach here, and I really, I kind of like that part of it.
That's good to hear.
And so the other two are really, so they're special to me in certain ways, but they can be movable. And so I love like looking at it from an observing, coaching the coach, and really now it's more of a guiding the guide. It's like that one's personal to me because that's more around what do I learn? How do I see it? What does it show up for? And so that's where I can be that part of it. And then transformation, I don't know yet. That one was something else. And so.
Yeah. I just learned about these. I didn't know you had those in the afternoon. But I can say for myself, this is the best time. Unless I'm off. Right? Because otherwise I'll be working, That's my kind of a second hour in the morning, right? So
yeah. Oh, that's good. That's because that noontime fits well for the rest of my week too, for the most part. So I'm kind of there. I'm kind of looking at my read. I'm thinking I'm sticking this time sticking this the same, but I'll probably be moving the rest of my week a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but in that I would love to invite Nettie into our session here. Let's see who would we're celebrating mastery. I don't know if how much I have to catch you up. I don't know. You have so many practices now. I mean, being so many days ahead of me, it's like I look up to you of how well you've learned that. So.
Well, hello, Jesse. How are you?
I'm good in that. Thank you.
Good.
Just celebrate,
Good.
just relaxing into my 4.
Into your 4. Awesome. That's what we should be all be doing. Yes. Yes. Finding those moments that we can do that and then kick it up a notch and go do something else. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm just looking at my lenses. I have them half written for today. 246 days of lenses. So yes, I find that in the last week, I haven't been as industrious in writing them, but I do get them done, and that's okay because that's how life is too. We sometimes are more focused on certain things than others, and yeah, my choices are changing a little bit now too. I notice. So it's kind of an evolution, because as I see some of my choices, some of my desires coming to fruition, I'm adding on the new things. And like I said, it's kind of an evolution where you kind of go into the next step, and you're already 2 steps ahead of what you're envisioning, but you haven't got the one in between yet. But that's okay. No, so. But from what I caught was you're just reassessing your schedule, Jesse. An evolution.
A starting has an ending, and an ending has a starting.
Yes, on, off. On, off. Yes, well, that's good. That's good. One of the things that I really like the choice of being the predominant creative force in my own life. And how I view it now is different than how I viewed it 200 days ago. And I see a different value in it. It's hard to explain, but there's more of an excitement in it now. I think because there's a bit more direction in the desire or in my desires. And yeah, we've eliminated the word want from choices altogether, because for me, the word want also expresses a sign of lack. And so we choose desire because we're just building on what we already have. So that's kind of that evolution for me.
Thank you. Some new verbiage I heard around that, and you've said that now, and it's like, yes, I can see, because there is a want has a charge to it. People either they'll defend it really hard, like they know what they want, or they'll run away from it when they don't.
Yeah.
And so you can observe that in people to know what their tendencies are, you know. And I love the Allison and them shared like their soul's goal. It's like, oh yeah, soul's goal. It's like soul's goal, truth, Pascal, right? Their soul's goal is the truth. You know, and that is the part of when we can relax and be in our truth. You know, is when we win, but then we realize that we don't need to win. There's nothing there to win. We already are it. We already are powerful.
That's right. But part of being relaxed is also being in kind of that state of innocence, because you are observing. You're just taking everything in. And so then when you react, and react could be anything, stand up, speak, anything. It is coming from that place of the four, of that state of innocence, that state of being relaxed and having observed, and often there's no emotion attached to it. And for that, there's no plus or minus charge to it, because it's no plus or minus emotion. It's just kind of in between. And if you choose to go one way or the other, it's just a little bit of energy. Pretty cool. Yeah. You look pretty relaxed there. No, you look pretty chilled.
Doesn't take very much. It's just a little twist, a little twist. It's like, oh, I can taste that one if I want.
Yeah.
From a 200 and however many days master.
It's just
that's
persistent with. Oh, sorry, Pascal, go ahead.
Oh no worries. You can go. So
I was just gonna say it's just a persistence on one task, and that task was the lens. That's all that is, and so that's just persistence on that. They say you're a master once you've done it 10,000 times. So I think I've got a couple of years ahead of me still. Go ahead, Pascal.
Mm. Yeah, it was interesting when you say there's no charge between the plus and minus. And the way I see it with the three brains. And the self-conscious is the polarity, the plus and minus. And when we're not putting any energy towards it, then it allow for the other two brains to have, I wouldn't say more control, but have more focus on. And I feel like when you live in that super conscious, then you train your unconscious with it. So yeah, it's really interesting that, you know, like if we ask today, which percentage do you allow to your self-conscious, unconscious, and your superconscious? But then when you don't put focus on your self-conscious, then that portion goes to your unconscious or your superconscious, and most likely on your superconscious. And when you operate from your superconscious, then you would think it's better choices, and your unconscious learn from that. So I don't know. It was just this is interesting.
Find your truth in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's the truth, but it just kind of, you know, I kind of had like 2 + 2 together.
Yeah. I hear I'll add a different, like another perspective layer to it. I say my self-conscious is my thoughts. I say my unconscious, my belly, my stomach is my unconscious, and that is my fear, my negative charges. And then the truth is my neutral, my superconscious. And so that's how I separate them, to know that, oh, there's my thinking brain. And most of the time, my thinking brain is just triggered by my emotion. So it's one of the two. And that's why the charge, I can always get the charge on it. And then if I know that it's neutral, that I can find my truth in, then it doesn't matter what my charge is, just to acknowledge it. And then because when we acknowledge it, we let it go. Now, I say that it sounds like I do that all the time, every day, but I don't, right?
Yeah.
And we say it sounds so easy, but we don't. It's at moments that we all are aware of it, what we react into. So it is the reaction, observing the reaction without reacting.
But for me, there's a difference between reaction and response. Reaction is attached to charge. Response would be from neutral.
I can see it. And I can also, biology can say a response is a reaction. So I'm very cautious of both of those.
Yes.
Sorry, Annette.
Oh, no, that I was going to say that was a really interesting way of putting it, between reaction and response. I never would have thought how different they are, and yet they could potentially be similar depending on how you view it.
So biology works without a charge. Accepting that charge is life.
Biology survives.
Yeah, that's
So
what,
I think life is a charge.
Yeah.
We have no other way to explain life without the charge.
charge is very useful for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Especially when you're conducting structures.
Mm. And that's what we're doing all the time, right? We do it whether it's conscious or unconscious.
This one works better.
The conscious one.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Yep. One of them works better.
definitely.
Yeah, you definitely have to bring it to the surface, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you just run the pattern
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know. You didn't know about it, right? So you're just running it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the problem of why we don't speak out loud or we don't take the action. We sit and let everyone tell us because that's safe. So when you have someone write in the chat, like we just did, see, that forces them to engage and and right, some will really do it, and even when they do it, they're going to learn something new about themselves. But those that run away are the ones that miss out.
And that would be my old me. And I recognize that.
That's wonderful, Pascal. You can recognize that in yourself. You're well on the way. I don't always recognize it for myself.
And
Not
then
in the
nor does
moment.
one, and not as nor does one session unpacking it like you observed fix it either.
Mm. Mm. But it's a good start. Eh?
Oh, without a doubt, yes, it is. You can like that one compared to our chat, which one had a higher return?
That's difficult for me because I found it really useful to think about it in a contained space on this morning. I didn't go into the practice sessions. But thinking about it was very useful.
Yes. Oh, I don't doubt that. The slow way is always the best. Like shortcuts aren't always the best thing.
Mm. But then I could come.
I don't say they are the best thing. They are the fastest. That's it.
Yeah. And sometimes you need slower.
Yeah. You learn more when it's slower.
But when you're fast and you fall flat on your face, you also learn. So
Yeah, I would say so.
Whichever way you're comfortable with it. I know where I get my big bang, so might as well go bump my head against that wall.
Mm. Well, it might not be the first time that you hit your face on the floor too, right? So
yes, I want to share a story from that I'll never forget. One of my clients had 3 little boys at the time that she was seeing me, and the middle one was a hellion, and he was on his bike at the top of a hill going, about to go down, and she screamed at him and said to him, "You are going to crash at the bottom of the hill." And he turned around and said, "Yes, I am, and you've got to make sure that I don't crash too badly." He was 4 at the time. I'll never forget that story. And to have the awareness at 4.
Children know. That's what we're forgetting.
Yeah, they do. When they're given the right environment to explore, otherwise they don't. Hey?
And I only did it one time.
You only did what one time?
I only gave space for an infant to explore one time.
Tell us about it.
So we were babysitting, watching, my wife was watching a friend's newborn, and he'd been with us a while. So it was so fun to be a different observer watching kids. And of course, I was home more often. It was before the pandemic, but I'd moved offices. So I'd been working at home a lot more than I had with my kids. And so I was around a lot more. And he had wanted nothing to do with the kids and wanted everything to do with me. And mom, of course, wherever he could get he'd go to mom for the loving, and then he'd come play with me. And so we were sitting in here talking one day, and I hear him blabbering. The only thing he can say is pickle at this time. He's like a year old, and he can say pickle. And so he's like, gets my attention, and he's walking at me, and he is irate, and he's gibbering and jabbering right at me. And I'm like, holy cow, he's trying to talk to me. So I said, okay, what do you want to tell me? And he takes me to the other room. I sit down and I get level with him, right? And he goes and shows me everything that he learned in that room.
Wow.
I sat there with him. Even times I tell him, don't touch that remote. He got the remote and does what he did with it and then gave it back to me. Didn't say a word, right? He does his whole thing, and he comes over here right on my shoulder. First, he gets right up here and he lays his head right on my shoulder. I'm sitting here like, wow, this is cool. And he gets up and he comes over, gives me a little kiss on the cheek, and then goes off.
That is divine.
Yeah, he's just a human being.
So Jesse, how did it make you feel?
Heard, belonged, part of, and shameful for what I dismissed as a child not being able to talk. And what I assumed about that. Meaning they're not worth engaging with until they can tell me or talk to, right? It's like that version of it's like they have nothing to say until they can talk. It's like, what a misrepresentation that is.
Yeah, it was funny because like friend of mine, he was telling me his experience with his two kids, and he's like, yeah, the first 6 months, they're just with their mom, and like they eat, poop, and go to bed. And I'm like, really? That's it, eh? Like it was just that's his experience, right? But I really think if you really pay attention, then there's a lot more to it.
There's everything more to it.
So Pascal, father to father, let me share some advice that hopefully you won't have to learn the way I did. But, and so I said, well, as soon as I noticed it, I was like, wow, look, I told my wife, he's trying to communicate me. And she looked at me like I was an idiot and said, yeah, so did your kids.
Oh,
Jab. I sat down for that one, yeah. But it's true, right? It is true.
Yeah, but sometimes we don't discover things until later on at another time.
That's right. She meant no harm with it. She wasn't intending to harm me. She just was making me aware. And it was like, oh, that one did hit me. Nothing personal about it. It just adds to the experience of that connection with another human who it's my youngest connection, and we couldn't even talk. And I still heard him.
And it's interesting that we assume that language is only through talking. Because my wife came home and she was like, oh, one of her client or friend, the two parents are deaf, and they had a kid, and they thought the kid to speak the sign language. And I think by the age of like 8 months, they were already communicating to each other by sign language. So we don't have to wait.
The best thing to do is to teach, to talk and read stories to your children.
Yeah, my wife just bought like 120 books. So
Oh,
It is-
it's
it is-
divine.
it
You'll
is
have the
proven.
best time.
Proven.
Start
It is
reading
proven,
now.
proven. Yes, proven. It is the shortcut. Not to let the TV tell us.
right.
I found with my kids, because I had 4 of them, the earliest forms of communication were through their facial expressions and their eyes when they were just weeks old. You couldn't really tell who was the clown.
I
And they
was.
can't see very far, but they can sense you. They hear you. They use all their other senses.
They smell you, and
Yeah, they do. Yes. Yeah.
So all the things we experienced first is through the feeling before we could see and hear and talk about it. I mean, before we could talk about it, see and talk. There you go, Pascal. There's the truth. Like, what was your first patterns?
Yeah, and I first learned that they only see like about 12 to 14 inches, right? So it's important to really be close to them. That's a truth that I didn't know.
And startles too, right? Because you can't see it coming. It is fascinating to watch some of the studies that they show that the kids, like, there's certain things that we've inherited, like innate in our, and it's around our depth perception. It was so cool. It's like they know certain things are by physics are off, and it registers like, nope, it's supposed to happen a certain way. It's so cool. Like drop a block or something and it doesn't drop. They're like, wait, something's off in that. And it's part of our survival mechanism.
God, it's so interesting. Hey? We come in with so much.
A whole new level to a powerful creator, huh? And that. Oh, so how did we share love's awareness, celebrating happy, finding my charges, and finding the truth, learning joy, and more?
There was all in that talking about the babies. Every bit of it. We had a textbook when I was doing my first master's it was called The Magic Years. And I thought about that all the time with Kalis, and it's so true. And of course they're not magic because they're nature, but we don't often live at that level. We don't often get the opportunity to live at that level.
Yeah. Until we see that it's possible and it becomes a new normal.
Yeah, and to me, like, how did we get there to happy and all that? It's just by taking your awareness there. We could have talked about death and everybody wouldn't have been sad in a moment. Right? So, because we start talking about babies, everybody had hopefully good experience with it, and that make them happy.
their structure to a charge that's already in society. It's already, quote, baked into it. Yeah.
Mm.
That's why positives work, and they'll take you, you can't fight positives for very long. You don't resist it. You can't resist it for very long.
It's like love.
Yes. And so if you're heard, if someone listens to you, right? If you can speak, if you can belong, yeah, you're going to start comparing it to other places. And so that feels like complete to me.
Mm.
Yeah, I gotta head back anyway, but yeah, no, it's fantastic. I'm glad I stopped by.
I'm glad you did too.
It's good to have you in the group, Pascal. Thank you.
Yeah, you too, Alison.
Yeah, it's just nice just to
Man,
kind of sit there. Just chilled, right, Jesse?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Pascal.
I know you
Alison?
can just, yeah, I can just like meditate on that, and that would be a lot.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know,
Things we're all leaving with smiles on our faces.
yeah.
Mm.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Des.
Yeah, thank you all. I had a great time. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Have a
Bye.
good one.